The Pumpkin King's Festival. The crisp autumn air of the overworld carried the scent of wood smoke and roasting potatoes. Sunlight, filtered through the rustling leaves of towering oak trees, dappled the bustling village below. Everywhere, pumpkins, piles of them, glowing with carved grins, adorned every rooftop, every windowsill, and every path. This was the annual Pumpkin King's Festival, a tradition stretching back further than anyone could recall, a time of harvest, celebration, and mirth. Anya, a wanderer by trade, paused at the village entrance, her pickaxe slung over her shoulder, her inventory filled with the spoils of a recent cavern dive. She'd heard tales of this festival, of the grand bonfires and the bountiful feasts. It was a welcome respite from the silent depths of the earth, a symphony of joyful clamor after days of only the hiss of lava and the distant groan of zombies. Villagers, their blocky forms adorned with garlands of dried wheat and orange dyes, hurried to and fro, their happy grunts and sighs filling the air. Small children, barely taller than a block, chased each other, giggling as they rolled miniature pumpkins across the cobbled streets. Yet, as the sun dipped towards the horizon, painting the sky in fiery hues, Anya felt a subtle shift in the atmosphere. The joyous sounds of the festival began to take on a strange echo. A particularly large, intricately carved pumpkin, perched atop the village well, seemed to glow with an unnaturally vibrant light, its carved eyes following the passing villagers. Anya dismissed it as a trick of the setting sun, but an inexplicable chill ran down her spine. The old stories whispered of the Pumpkin King, an ancient spirit said to oversee the harvest, and on this one night, to walk the lands, ensuring the festival was observed with due reverence. Most considered it quaint folklore, a tale for scaring little ones by the fire. As night fully descended, lanterns flickered to life, their warm glow mingling with the more intense, pulsating light emanating from the myriad of carved pumpkins. A massive bonfire roared in the village square, its flames dancing, reflecting in the wide, excited eyes of the villagers. Music played on crude wooden flutes and drums filled the air. Anya found a quiet spot near the edge of the square, observing the festivities. The rhythm of the drums grew louder. The villagers began to dance, their movements mirroring the sway of the trees in the gentle breeze. All seemed well. Then, the first oddity. A villager, attempting to light a new torch near his porch, found the flame guttering out, replaced by a soft, mocking giggle that seemed to emanate from the nearby jack-o'-lantern. He blinked, confused, then tried again, only for the same phenomenon to repeat. Other villagers began to notice similar occurrences. A pig, previously penned in a neat sty, was discovered calmly chewing cud on a rooftop, its little oinks of contentment echoing strangely. Tools left out vanished, only to reappear moments later, carefully placed backwards on a shelf. Laughter started to mix with perplexed grunts, then with rising notes of unease. The second night brought more pronounced trickery. Anya awoke to find her own small lean-to surrounded by a circle of glowing carved pumpkins, their eerie smiles fixed on her. The sounds of general consternation already filled the village. One farmer's entire wheat field had been meticulously replanted with mushrooms overnight. Another villager discovered his chests overflowing, not with their usual contents, but with stacks upon stacks of gravel. A blacksmith's furnace, usually roaring with heat, contained only a single, perfectly formed ice block. The villagers' grunts of confusion escalated into exasperated complaints. Some began to eye the glowing pumpkins with suspicion, their previous merriment replaced by a growing sense of frustration and even fear. The most peculiar case was old Barnaby, the village elder, known for his vast knowledge of local lore. His modest house, once orderly, was now entirely enveloped by an unnatural proliferation of pumpkins, growing out of every surface. some of them pulsing with an unsettling inner light. Barnaby himself wandered the streets in a daze, humming ancient tuneless melodies that no one had heard before, his eyes distant as if seeing things far beyond the ordinary. He would occasionally point a gnarled finger at a particularly luminous pumpkin, muttering words about forgotten tributes and the true heart of the harvest. Anya, a seasoned explorer of strange phenomena, found herself increasingly intrigued. This was no ordinary prank. The sheer scale and precision of the tricks suggested an intelligence beyond simple, mischievous villagers. She began to notice a pattern. The most elaborate pranks seemed to occur near the oldest, most gnarled pumpkin patches, or around particularly vibrant, pulsing jack-o'-lanterns. Barnaby's fragmented whispers about forgotten tributes resonated with a vague legend Anya had once heard of an ancient spirit bound to the land, who required more than mere celebration to be appeased. Her investigation led her to the oldest part of the village, a section rarely visited, where ancient overgrown pumpkin vines snaked across crumbling stones. There, beneath a towering, ancient oak, stood the largest, most twisted pumpkin vine she had ever seen. Its tendrils seemed to hum with a quiet energy, wrapping around a small, moss-covered stone slab. As Anya approached, the slab glowed faintly, a subtle tremor passing through the ground. A quick inspection revealed a hidden switch, cleverly disguised as a loose stone. With a quiet click, the slab slid aside, revealing a dark, earthen stairwell descending into the depths. Anya lit a torch, its flame casting dancing shadows as she ventured downward. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth, and something else, something ancient and sweet, like decaying pumpkin and forgotten magic. The stairs led to a small, circular chamber, its walls adorned with crude, blocky carvings depicting stylized pumpkins and figures engaged in what looked like ceremonial dances. Glowing moss clung to the damp stone, providing an ethereal light. In the center of the chamber, on a raised stone altar, rested a single, colossal pumpkin. It was intricately carved, its surface a swirling tapestry of faces and symbols, and it pulsated with an intense, internal golden light. This, Anya knew, was the heart of the Pumpkin King's influence. As she stepped further into the chamber, the king's trickery manifested with greater force. Illusions flickered in her peripheral vision, phantom creepers waddling silently through the walls, then vanishing, ghostly endermen teleporting rapidly around the chamber, their purple particles shimmering, yet never quite materializing. Disorienting sounds echoed around her, the jingle of phantom bells, the distant clucking of chickens that weren't there, the faint mocking giggles she had heard earlier. The air itself seemed to ripple with mischievous energy. Suddenly, a faint murmur from the stairwell. Barnaby, followed by a handful of other villagers, their eyes still glazed and distant, began to descend. They moved with a slow, deliberate cadence, drawn by the king's power. Barnaby, his voice stronger now, though still in that same haunting monotone, began to chant, his words forming fragments of an ancient ritual. Not just joy, but toil. Not just light, but root, a tribute given, from hand to soil, in craft and truth, the king's bounty. Anya pieced it together. The Pumpkin King wasn't malicious. He was annoyed. The festival had become superficial, a loud, showy affair, devoid of the true reverence for the harvest, the land, and the craftsmanship that brought forth its bounty. The tricks were not attacks, but lessons, demands for recognition. He wanted more than just carved faces and bonfires. He wanted a genuine offering, a true acknowledgement of the effort and spirit involved in the harvest and the celebration of life. Barnaby's fragmented chant pointed the way. Craft and truth. Anya quickly assessed her inventory. Gold nuggets, collected from a fortunate mining trip. Glowstone dust, a remnant from a quick nether expedition, and, most crucially, a perfectly shaped, uncarved pumpkin she had been saving. The king demanded craftsmanship, and she would give it to him. With practiced hands, she began to carve, not a simple smile, but an intricate pattern of intertwining vines and golden ears of wheat, symbolizing the true abundance of the harvest and the painstaking work involved. Then, using the gold nuggets and glowstone dust, she imbued the carved pumpkin with a subtle inner glow, reflecting both the richness of the earth and the light of magic. It was not enchanted in the traditional sense, but imbued with intention and skill, a true piece of craft. With careful reverence, Anya placed her meticulously crafted, glowing pumpkin beside the colossal one on the altar. The moment it touched the stone, the ancient chamber vibrated. The phantoms vanished. The sounds ceased. The immense pumpkin on the altar shimmered, its intense golden light softening, spreading throughout the chamber like a warm, benevolent embrace. It then slowly, gracefully, began to fade, dissolving into particles of light that drifted upwards through the stairwell. As the king's spirit dissipated, the villagers, including Barnaby, blinked, their eyes clearing. Confusion flickered across their faces, followed by a collective sigh of relief, as if waking from a long, strange dream. They looked around the chamber, then at Anya, then back at each other, their memory of the strange events of the past days hazy, like an unsettling nightmare. Barnaby, no longer chanting, simply patted Anya's shoulder with a grunt of gratitude, his eyes full of a quiet, renewed understanding. The festival resumed, but with a palpable shift. The villagers, though unsure why, began to craft more elaborate decorations, spending hours on intricate carvings. They spoke less of grand feasts, and more of the quiet joy of the harvest, sharing stories of the bountiful crops and the effort put into them. The pumpkin still glowed, but now with a warm, gentle light, a comforting presence rather than an eerie one. Anya watched them for a while, a quiet satisfaction settling over her. Her intervention had reconnected the village to something ancient and vital. As the last embers of the bonfire died down, and the first rays of the morning sun painted the eastern sky, Anya gathered her tools. Her purpose here was complete. With a silent nod to the peaceful, re-energized village and a glance back at the now empty chamber beneath the ancient oak, she continued her journey, leaving the villagers to their renewed understanding of the Pumpkin King's true festival, a deeper, more meaningful celebration that would endure for generations to come.